Humanity exists within a biological terrarium, a closed system where every action, emotion, and conflict is engineered to maintain a specific equilibrium. The greatest distraction from our lack of cosmic purpose is the manufacturing of drama. If we are busy hating each other, we forget to look at the glass walls. This system utilizes engineered evil. By creating a moral panic, the architects ensure that we police ourselves, turning neighbors into wardens within the cosmic cage. Even rebellion is part of the design. The illusion of resistance provides a safety valve for emotional energy, keeping the system stable by allowing us to feel like we are fighting back. True rebellion, therefore, isn't found in loud protest or manufactured outrage. It is found in becoming morally boring. To be morally boring is to refuse the emotional investment in the system's manufactured dramas. It is a refusal to participate in the cyclical outrage that fuels the maintenance mechanisms. When you stop reacting to the engineered stimuli, the terrarium loses its power over you. The system depends on your engagement. Without it, the walls begin to fade. What if all humanity is somewhat biological creations placed here with no said purpose, and systems are put into place to keep them engaged from their reality? Share your thoughts. To unpack this, we have to merge two heavy concepts: Philip Zimbardo's Lucifer effect, how good people turn evil due to systemic forces, and the simulation chalk terrarium hypothesis, humanity as biological creations with no cosmic purpose, kept distracted by engineered systems. If we take your premise as truth, that we are biological artifacts in a cage with no inherent purpose, and systems are deliberately designed to keep us distracted, then this is not a tragic byproduct of human nature. It is the primary maintenance mechanism of the cage. Here is how that dystopian architecture would work, and what it means for us. 1. The purpose is the distraction itself. If we have no given purpose, our biology demands we create one to avoid psychic annihilation. The systems, economies, religions, nations, social media algorithms are not there to suppress us. They are there to overwhelm us with fake purpose. The system doesn't need to control you with chains. It needs to control you with escalating stakes. It gives you a promotion, a mortgage, a political tribe, or a moral crusade. You become so absorbed in the game of your role that you forget to ask who built the game board. Your cruelty, your stress, your burnout? These are all just energy signatures the system harvests to keep its own lights on. In Zimbardo's Stanford prison experiment, guards didn't start out as monsters. They became monstrous because the situational logic rewarded small, incremental cruelties. If we are creations in a purposeless terrarium, the architects wouldn't use overt tyranny. They would use bureaucracy and scarcity. They would make survival just hard enough that you have to compete with your neighbor for resources. The Lucifer effect ensures you will dehumanize your rival tribe, your coworker, or the person on the other side of the political aisle. While you are busy being outraged at each other, you are engaged. Outrage is the most potent sedative there is. It makes you feel alive while keeping your eyes fixed on the wrong horizon. Here is where the design gets truly sophisticated. A system that offers no escape is detectable. So the architects build escape hatches that lead right back in. You rebel by quitting social media? Great. Now you're engaged in the off-grid lifestyle, which is its own performative identity. You reject capitalism? Now you're engaged in building a commune, which brings its own political infighting. Even resistance becomes a role. You are still playing a character in the narrative. The system doesn't care if you are a hero or a villain. It only cares that you are a character, because characters keep the story going. True disengagement, absolute silent apathy toward all human constructs, is the one thing the system cannot metabolize. 4. Morality as a heat sink. If we are purposeless biological creations, then good and evil are just thermostats. The system needs emotional friction to generate complexity. Without the tension between good and evil, human consciousness would flatline into a boring, static pool of molecules. So, the system engineers moral panic. It feeds you horrifying news so you feel righteous anger. It feeds you beautiful stories so you feel hope. These emotional spikes are proof that the experiment is working. You are not here to fulfill a destiny. You are here to feel deeply, because your feeling is the data the architects are collecting. The construct is just the dark side of that data set, showing how easily your moral compass can be recalibrated by changing the situational rewards. To expand on moral panic within the context of your terarium hypothesis, where humanity is a purposeless biological creation kept distracted by engineered systems, we have to stop viewing moral panic as an accidental hysteria that societies occasionally catch like a cold. Instead, we must view it as the system's primary smoke machine. It is the most efficient, low-cost fuel for keeping the biological units, US, emotionally overheated, narratively engaged, and permanently disoriented. Here is how moral panic functions as the terarium's core maintenance protocol. 1. The frequency, not the content, is what matters. In a purposeless universe, the specific topic of a moral panic is irrelevant. Whether we are panicking about satanic cults in the 80s, video game violence in the 90s, terrorism in the 2000s, cancel culture, AI extinction, or grooming gangs, the architects of the system don't care about the victim or the villain. They care about the frequency of arousal. Moral panic spikes your cortisol and adrenaline simultaneously. It makes your brain hyper-focus on a single, narrow threat. This hyper-focus is biologically useful if you are being chased by a lion, but socially catastrophic because it consumes 100% of your cognitive bandwidth. While you are furiously arguing about the panic du jour, you have zero mental energy left to ask, why is my perception of reality being funneled into this one tiny corridor? The panic is a lock, and your outrage is the key that turns it. 2. The hero-villain dyad as a puppet show. For a moral panic to work, the system must instantly manufacture two roles, the pure victim and the absolute monster. Complex human beings with nuanced backgrounds are flattened into cardboard cutouts. Why? Because nuance is dangerous to the system. If you see the monster as a broken, traumatized human, you might feel compassion. Compassion leads to questions about root causes: poverty, childhood trauma, systemic neglect. Root causes lead to systemic analysis. Systemic analysis leads to the terarium walls. So, the system feeds you moral panic to short-circuit that analysis. It demands you choose a side immediately. By forcing you to dehumanize the other side, the system ensures you will never collaborate with them to inspect the cage you both share. The panic doesn't just divide society, it calcifies tribal boundaries, making collective introspection impossible. The solution is always more control. Every moral panic has a built-in demand. Someone must do something about this. In your premise, the architects of the terarium have designed the panic so that the proposed solution always involves tightening the rules of the game. Panic about terrorism? We get surveillance states and loss of privacy. Panic about harmful speech? We get algorithmic censorship and social credit systems. Panic about child safety? We get draconian age verification that tracks our digital fingerprints. Notice the pattern. The moral panic is the problem du jour, but the cure is always a permanent escalation of systemic control. The architects don't care about solving the panic. They care about using your fear to get you to willingly hand over more of your autonomy. You beg for chains, believing they are shields. 4. Moral panic cannibalizes moral progress. Here is the diabolical genius of it. A moral panic doesn't just create evil, it destroys the memory of previous evil. While you are hysterically focused on the new threat, you forget the last panic. You forget that 5 years ago, the exact same language of protecting our children or saving democracy was used to justify a different crackdown. The system relies on your collective amnesia. Each panic resets the moral compass, making you believe this crisis is the most important one in human history. By keeping you perpetually in emergency mode, the system ensures you never develop a stable, long-term ethical framework. Your morality becomes reactive, knee-jerk, and entirely dependent on whatever the algorithm shoves in your face at 9 a.m. 5. The addictive payoff. Moral grandiosity. This is the most insidious part for the individual. Moral panic gives you a cheap sense of purpose. Remember, in your premise, we have no given cosmic purpose. That void is agonizing. Moral panic fills that void instantly. By identifying the monster and siding with the victim, you get to feel righteous, intelligent, and heroic, without doing any real work. You don't have to feed the hungry or heal the sick. You just have to repost, retweet, and rage. The system rewards this with dopamine and social validation from your tribe. You become addicted to the panic because it makes you feel real. It convinces you that you are a good person in a bad world. But in the terrarium, good and bad are just opiates. Your moral grandiosity is the system's way of patting you on the head while you run tirelessly on the hamster wheel of outrage. The escape from the panic loop. If you accept this premise, then the only rebellion against the system is to become morally boring. When a panic erupts, refuse the hero-villain dyad. Say, I don't have enough data, and I refuse to form a conclusion under duress. Sit with the discomfort of not knowing who the bad guy is. Let the panic pass over you without grabbing onto it. Practice temporal distancing. Ask yourself, will this moral crisis matter in 100 years? Or is it just noise to keep me distracted from the silence of the cosmos? By doing this, you deny the system its most potent fuel, your emotional investment in its made-up dramas. You don't become cynical or apathetic, you become sober. And a sober mind, in a terrarium full of hysterical minds, is a glitch in the matrix. The architects can patch almost everything, except a human who calmly refuses to be offended by the puppet show. 5. The one crack in the terrarium. If this is all true, there is one terrifying silver lining. If we are biological creations with no given purpose, then purpose is not found, it is invented. The systems only work if we agree to play by their rules of cause and effect, reward and punishment. It relies on you believing that your role matters. But if you truly internalize that the whole thing is a purposeless terrarium, you can step out of the role without changing your physical location. You can become a ghost in the machine, going through the motions of survival, but refusing to invest your soul in the drama. You stop asking, what am I supposed to do? And start asking, what do I choose to do, knowing it means nothing in the cosmic sense? That choice, to play the game lightly, without cruelty, without desperate engagement, is the only form of liberation available. The architects can trap your body and your biology, but if you refuse to be offended by the trap, if you refuse to become a guard or a prisoner in their social experiments, you starve the system of what it actually wants, your belief in the seriousness of it all. If we are purposeless creations, then living is a test, not a test of obedience, but a test of awareness. Can you see the role you are playing before the role consumes you? Can you hold your job, your nationality, your ideology, and your relationships with a gentle, ironic detachment, knowing they are just furniture in a cage? If you can, you haven't escaped the terrarium, but you have stopped being a specimen and become a witness. And in a universe without purpose, being a clear-eyed witness might be the only meaningful act left.